Hello out there, welcome to Real Vision and welcome to Drinks with not Raul, but with myself, Mikkel Rosenvold, and Andreas Steno. This is our very first time doing this format on Real Vision. I'm really looking forward to it. Usually we do our free macro show every Monday, and we do a bunch of other shows and interviews, always very, very serious, Andreas, but this time we get to shoot the shit a little bit. How are you doing, man?
Very serious. Okay. That wouldn't be the
I
label
don't
I would
know.
put on our macro show. But anyway, I have so many insults prepared for today, Mikkel.
That
Uh,
sounds
but
great.
but most importantly, I'm wearing my Jesus shirt today because I uh, to save our backs, we probably need Jesus to return. But I'm also trying to trigger this fucking Polymarket.
Yeah.
There's a risk-free rate of 4% in there still. Let's see
Yeah,
whether
but
I can
but
trigger it.
there's a trick here. Let's show this. This is a classic, of course. Will Jesus Christ return? It always hovers around the 4%, and this is essentially a term premium. Not the best return for putting your money there for a year, but still, what I like, I haven't bought it yet, but I should have, is this one. What will happen before the release of GTA 6? And I mean, GTA 6 has been postponed a number of times. I think it's been almost 10 years in the making. So it might be another few years, but still, look at the bottom of this. Both Bitcoin to hit 1 million is apparently 50-50, as well as the return of Jesus Christ. And this is a $10 million market. So, I mean, Andreas, I don't know if your shirt counts as Jesus Christ returning. Probably not. But
But Mikkel, I honestly, my gut feeling would also tell me that it's more likely that Jesus Christ returns than Bitcoin hitting 1 million. I mean,
or it's the same.
it's
I
kind of
mean,
the sentiment at the moment, isn't it?
yeah,
So,
it's the promised land. I don't know, Andreas. One that's really, really bugging me, and now I'm gonna try and flip over to find it actually in Polymarket. I've begun betting a lot on Polymarket. Polymarket, I have to admit, Andreas, it's a lot of fun.
mhm.
I'm usually the nothing ever happens trader in there, including on this one. We can get it on a screen here. I'm getting slaughtered in this at the moment. I think I got it at around 9 or 10% chance of the US confirming that aliens exist before 2027. So I bought the flip side, the no. Now my no is down to 83 cents on the dollar in value. I got it in around 91, I think. So that's horrible value right now. I thought this would be increasing towards the end of the year, but apparently, people are quite confident. We are awaiting a release of alien papers, but usually that's a big nothing burger. So yeah, I don't know, Andres. This is the
Mikkel,
plan
look,
B if nothing else works.
try and zoom in on the rules because it seems like
Yeah,
the market will resolve to a yes if any member or joint chiefs of
yeah.
staff, any federal agency definitely states, okay,
I don't know.
sounds unlikely, yeah.
I
But I
think
mean, you have quite a few crackpots in that administration, to be honest, right? So, and I mean, I wouldn't rule out that RFK or some kind of or a secretary of some sort
yeah.
says yes
It
to
says
this. I mean, yeah.
the president because a president, a former president who's still entitled or still titulated as the president, actually confirmed this. I think it was a bit of a misunderstanding, but Barack Obama answered yes to this question. So I don't know, Andreas. I'm still pretty happy about that bet. I think it will move a lot higher than 90%, but it is obviously the boring bet. I'm big in those in here. So Andreas, this is drinks with. We're taking in some listener questions. We're going to be shooting the shit and some AI stuff going on at the moment. It's nighttime here in Copenhagen, where we're sending from. I'm a little bit outside of Copenhagen. And we actually consider whether this should be called nursery with Mikkel and Andreas because we're both watching our kids. They're asleep. So if any of us suddenly run off screen, that's why simply. So slightly different show today, but hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun. So do bomb us with your questions. We're already getting a lot in here. Not too serious,
But
hopefully, but we're getting a lot in
I'm
there.
drinking this. It's called a Noda.
Oh,
Couldn't be more boring, to be honest. But
this is also quite boring.
sparkling water with pressed organic fruit. In this case, mango passion. Um, yeah, I see the
I
return
have
feed
to say this.
already states twat in return. Fair enough.
I so Des, I have a feeling that Raul is is building a lot of this community around his taste in drinks and snacks. And I think that's one point. Generally, we agree with a lot of Raul's takes on macro, on crypto, whatever. I think on drinks and snacks, we are worlds apart. To be honest, I'm I'm a wine is crap guy.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, I drink wine, but not if I have not if I have the chance. I mean, if I'm at a dinner party, we're having okay, I drink wine, but it's I don't know if it's a generational thing or what. I'm just
Yeah, but of course it is. I mean, we're both millennials. I don't think per se that millennials have been anti-wine, but if you look at Gen Z, they're certainly anti-wine. They're the generation of prescription drugs, right? Which is, I personally prefer that lean, if anything. Which is also why we have a lot of money invested in Definium Therapeutics. I'm cheering for prescription MDMA. Make it legal. Come on.
Would be good for it's a much better bet for our domestic economy here in Denmark. We're not very big in wines, but we're much bigger in prescription drugs, especially obesity. So that could be linked to the wine, of course. No, Andreas, I'm on a very, very regular can of Coke. Okay. Also, I have to admit, when we were in Miami, the biggest threat of people going onto the stage with Raul was I can't remember what the bet was, but they had to eat a Dorito. And I mean, I hadn't really tried Doritos before. They're in Europe, but it's not really a thing. I think they're quite good. I mean,
they're super.
Yeah, might just
I ended up
quite a good
on our way home. I think I had 3 or 4 bags of Doritos actually. So.
Exactly. It was the only thing you could have in Miami Airport anyway, at least in the terminal we were in. That was a horrible
Mikkel, speaking of Raul, right? We have an election upcoming in Denmark, and I'll allow you to unpack it in a second. But the leader, at least the apparent leader of the opposition, we need to get him on the screens here.
Yeah, he's here.
His name is Troels. He's a redneck, but he's still wearing what I would call the red flag bracelet if you're a man with a midlife crisis, right? Yeah, there you are. And do you know who's wearing the exact same kind of pearly bracelets?
No.
Our good old Raul, right? I haven't seen anyone, middle-aged man wearing this kind of stuff outside of Raul. It's a major red flag to me. I'm wearing gold and silver at least. I mean, at least I'm bullish on something wearing it. Right?
I'm wearing absolutely nothing here. That's even more childish, perhaps. I'm not even wearing a watch, but these days. But you had a period of wearing 2 watches, Andreas, one on each arm. That's even more of a red flag, I have to say. But you're luckily you're past that. That was
yeah. I've returned to Jesus now.
So it's actually this guy. I mean, just look at him. He's like, he tells you everything you need to know about Danish politics. We like our politicians to be completely absent of charisma and personalities. That's the best thing. And this guy his only personality is probably these bracelets. So I mean, it's a lot more boring than U.S. politics.
But Mikkel, we have quite an American audience, right? Should we expect news around Denmark's willingness to sell Greenland if we get a new government or anything? I mean, fill us in a little bit about what to expect here.
No. Essentially, this has nothing to do with Greenland, or in a way it does. But I mean, fundamentally, this has nothing to do with Greenland. Our Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, she had a huge boost in popularity over the Greenland crisis. That was part of the reason why she chose to have the election now. It was coming at some point in 2026. We don't have fixed election dates like in the US, but there's a term limit that ran out in November 26 here. So we had to have an election at some point. You can't really do it over the summer because people are away and they're, so it was bound to come at one point, and we have it now. So it has nothing to do with Greenland, really. And no matter which party would win or whatever happens, Greenland is voting in this election as well. So no matter what happens, we'll have the same course. It's nothing to do with that. It's not really a topic in the election, I think.
No.
So, but obviously it gave the chance for some of the government politicians, the ministers, to shine a little bit, go to Washington and look like big statesmen. So. And they did handle it quite okay, I think. So no, you'll probably hear that on X and other places that this is a desperate prime minister trying to regain her footing within. It's got nothing to do with that essentially. So it's a lot more boring than that. So as an address, we wanted to. We're already getting on so many off pieces here. The idea was to talk a little bit about AI today, Andreas, because it's things are happening out there. I feel like I had a feeling until 6-8 months ago that AI was stuck a little bit. We hadn't got quite the dramatic increases in tech and new opportunities out there from ChatGPT, but things are beginning to happen over the past six months, and especially perhaps the past 6 weeks or something like that. So what's your feeling around this, Andreas, and what sentiment are you picking up right now?
So first of all, the new poster child of AI, Dario, from Anthropic, right?
Yeah.
I've watched 2 interviews with Dario over the past 24 hours. I'm watching one of it right now from Fox News. In that interview, he states that 50% of entry-level lawyers, consultants, and finance professionals will be completely wiped out within the next 1 to 5 years. Airing a few days earlier, the 60 Minutes interview with Dario, he said that 50% of entry-level jobs of lawyers, finance professionals, and consultants would be wiped out within 12 months. So he's now moved the goalpost from 12 months to 1 to 5 years. Probably someone told him to shut up, I don't know, or to move the goalpost, because I've honestly never seen anything like it. I mean, Anthropic can kill any single stock they want. And they're constantly doing so. And, given the lack of a rule of law around, compliance with insider trading rules, everything related to disclosure of your positions and what have you in the US post Trump launching his own fucking coin days after becoming the president, right? I wouldn't rule out, and I have no clue whatsoever, that a lot of people are making money on this. And the latest example we had on Monday with this Citrini research paper on AI and how AI would lead to this doom loop of layoffs, subsequent further investments in AI, further layoffs, and ultimately no whatsoever consumer demand. A couple of pretty high-profile X accounts have allegedly found out that they have now replaced the co-author of that initial piece because it was linked to a hedge fund with SEC filings of short positions in the exact names mentioned in that article. And again, I'm referring to a couple of X accounts, and we can probably bring one of them on the screen in a second. But my point is that we're currently stuck in a mode where, one day you can wake up and very solid fundamental case, for example, within enterprise software, is annihilated overnight because of some weird announcement of something. And in my opinion, it was kind of an eye-opener what happened yesterday with this attempt to allow Perplexity AI to vibe code Bloomberg, which is honestly the most retarded take I've seen so far in the AI space, and that's quite telling. Having been a user of Bloomberg, both as a fund manager, as a researcher, I cannot just put in words how vertically integrated this software is into everything that relates to settlement of repos, being able to trade with counterparts, various databases, your own portfolio systems, your trade confirmation signals, everything related to that. And these guys, vibe coding Bloomberg, they were cheering, yay, we've recreated the interface. And I'm like, the interface is fucking 3 decades old and they haven't done shit about it.
That's the only thing you wouldn't want to recreate.
Yes. I mean, I've recreated Bloomberg. Are you a moron? I mean, the interface is the worst in the software industry. So to me, that was an eye-opener because, this is a piece of software I've dealt with throughout my professional life. And we are so far from being able to vibe code, the whole layer of interconnectivity beneath the interface.
Yeah, I think we might have lost Andreas' audio a little bit here. Hang on a second, guys. We'll just get it.
I'm back, hopefully.
You hear us. We can hear you. Everything is good. All good. Sorry. Where did we pick up here?
No, I was just saying that it was, it was such an eye-opener to me that this vibe coding of Bloomberg made the rounds. And if it's the case that these vibe coders think that they can just recreate the interface of Bloomberg and change the world, it might be the case as well with security software and all of these announcements that we've seen over the past couple of weeks. So what I'm trying to say here is that I think the doom porn on software is getting out of control. Not that the direction of travel is correct. I had breakfast with sort of a mid-cap private equity manager this morning, and he's stuck with all sorts of backs within the software industry. But the point I'm trying to make here is that some of these vertically integrated names, CrowdStrike, to take one example within security software, I think it's overdone, and we're probably partially guilty of that as ourselves, Mikkel. But I think we're overestimating how fast the implementation phase will be.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this a lot with AI. I mean, I've always tried to use sort of the example of SAP and accounting systems. So we've had Excel, we've had spreadsheets for 40-45 years, and people are still paying huge bucks to for glorified spreadsheets. Essentially, that's a $1 billion industry still. It shouldn't be. So it is tricky to make the exact, and there is still money to be made, even though things can be recreated. What I think, where I would like to put the finger here is the vertical integration that you're talking about. So let's unwrap that. What is that? So the ultimate vertical integration is. There are probably other solutions, but Bloomberg is a good bet. That's why they can charge so much money for it. It's probably the highest price point almost in SaaS anywhere, and it's. Not only do they have all the data they need, but they also have the entire network. That's it. That's like you have a lot of guys posting, "Oh, I just vibe coded Reddit. I just vibe coded X." Yeah, so fucking what? No one's using it. So that is also the point of Bloomberg. So at the other end of vertical integration, you have stuff that's not even shipped yet. So no matter how good your idea is, no matter how good your software startup is, if it's not shipped yet, if it's not at all vertically integrated because it hasn't shipped yet, the train has left the station. It's too late, in my opinion, and that's going to be big because there's still at any point the development so much stuff in development. We're like, oh, we're in beta mode, or we're play testing this or whatever. It's too late. I mean, if you haven't got a mode built already, it's too late. Why are you working against? And so you're competing with not only Max 7 but also with Anthropic, Perplexity, OpenAI. So
which is kind of Max 7 anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean that is the spectre of vertical integration. Duolingo is another example, not very well vertically integrated. It's very, very easy to switch to another app. They failed, as far as I can tell. I've never really used it too much, but they failed to build the network effects or whatever integration that would make it indispensable. So I understand the drive or the desire to disrupt Bloomberg, and there are so many organizations and people around the world. They're so eager to get rid of Bloomberg, but it's very, very tough. Which banker are going to be first movers and pull the plug on Bloomberg? It's not going to happen because they're so well integrated. So that's the way I view it. It's all about integration, and if you're working on a software product out there that's not released yet, has no users, it's too late.
Oh, okay, Mikkel. Are you watching the questions coming in? Because
I am.
Oh, no, I ended up deleting one of the good ones here.
That's a good one. It's a very good one.
We need to bring up this question from Gary. And so you get a few insults, but we'll insult Gary in return.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, Andreas, you need to explain your hatred for the silver box. Let me just start by answering that.
That again.
Yeah.
That again.
Yeah, because silver's up 5% today, Bitcoin is down. So of course we need to touch upon this. I want to reiterate, I've been long silver and I haven't been short silver at any point. I'm still long a lot of metals. What I just highlighted in early January and through January was that the silver bucks were, they were overcrowded. I think I kind of won that discussion. Is it tempting to get back into silver? I certainly wouldn't rule that out. I'm long gold and I'm long copper. So why not silver? I mean, very correlated trades. I just exited silver because of a too crowded positioning and a very clear, sensitivity to leverage. And we had this biggest drawdown in history that Friday a few weeks back, and here we are. So I have no hatred for silver bucks. I just think you need to be capable of laughing at yourselves. That's and I say that with all of my heart, to be honest. I don't know a community that is more rude than the silver bucks. And as you can see, Gary here, Mikkel's definitely not retarded, but he's fat. But he's calling me retarded, right? Yeah. I guess that's the indirect conclusion here. Sure. As I've said before, Gary, yes, I am fat. Yes, I am retarded. But what does it have to do with my silver view, right?
I mean, we I think a few months back we actually promised to do a recap of the best insults we've received. I think this is mid-tier, C tier. The S tier insult we've had was from when we did a Danish podcast, and he was like, "Your stuff is quite good. I like your analysis, but none of you have necks." So that is an S tier insult. And it's especially because that was an audio only podcast. So, but still, that is an S tier insult.
You could sense it through the mics.
Absolutely, this is C tier in my opinion. You can do better.
Yeah, but okay. But on a serious note, right? Actually, thanks for bringing this topic up, Gary, because what I've been writing for the past week or so since we got that SCOTUS ruling on tariffs is that I consider Trump's position of strength very weak ahead of the meeting on trade terms with Beijing in April. So I've upped my conviction on everything related to rare earths. Also getting a question whether I'm long UUUU, which is a rare earth name. Yes, I am. It's the second biggest position I have, as far as I remember. So I'm long gold and copper exposures. And I have nothing against being long silver. I just think the risk reward is weaker than the two other metals. That's exactly what I've been saying the whole time. Give me some alpha restaurant recommendations for Copenhagen, please. Okay, we need an hour for that, Mikkel. It's the best. If you're into good food, this is the best town in the world. I honestly think it is.
Yeah,
and
very likely.
I mean, the simple question, answer to that question is to visit Alchemist, the weirdest restaurant experience in the world, and I can safely promise that. You're kind of traveling through 6 rooms during the night. You'll get 72 courses, I think. You need to set aside 5 or 6 hours. you'll struggle to walk out of there, at least if you're pick the alcoholic menu. Yeah, visit it. That would be my recommendation. Alchemist, completely bizarre place, and you'll taste every single part of the body of an animal, including penises or bananas. Is that
That's a good one.
Yeah, are we allowed to say banana on this show? I'm not sure. We probably shouldn't. But let me say one thing in relate. There's a reason why my show is called Macro Meets Micro. So I'm not a subject matter expert on anything banana. I'll leave it at that.
What I will say, Andreas, if you can go to Alchemist, of course. I've never been there. I would love to try it at one point. So many good restaurants. If you're briefly in Copenhagen, in the center of Copenhagen, and you want the best sandwich in Copenhagen, you need to go to a place. We were there today, Andreas, called Itota. It's Italian schiacciata sandwiches. That is incredible. It's a little bit pricey, but that's the absolute best. It's right off the main square of Copenhagen. So do check that out if you're here.
Mikkel, we get a question in from Fugazi 1990. Yeah. I guess it maybe it's his birth year. I'm almost from 1990. I'm from New Year's Eve 1989. So yeah, good years to be born in. What is your view on the crypto market in total at this moment, and what is your outlook for crypto this year? Okay, we had actually planned on discussing whether crypto is fairly placed in the same basket as some of these mid-cap software as a service names, right? And I had a long discussion with the software guy I met with over breakfast this morning around that exact topic, and his take is, and I kind of share that, is that, well, a blockchain with fees is a software as a service. You're paying a fee to use a code. There's obviously a whole infrastructural angle to this, but in essence, it is a software as a service. My point is, can you find a software as a service that is better equipped to deal with the age of AI and the age of disinflation, if that's the outcome of AI? Margin squeezes, microtransactions, agents using chains, etc. I think that's kind of where we're heading. Towards much smaller companies, towards much smaller transactions on average, and the good old fiat system is not particularly well equipped to deal with that. No. And a chain like Solana, they couldn't care less if the average transaction is, $0.05, whatever, right? It's kind of a chain designed for microtransactions and loads of them, right? So, yes, I think it's fair to say that it's software as a service. I think it is fair that it sells off alongside software as a services until we see the agentic economy actually thriving on chain, and I think it will be difficult to get the growth results in that particular part of the asset space this year. So for cryptos to see returns this year, we need to see the duration scare in software overall to abate. I kind of said it earlier that I think it's overdone, and we need to see the duration scare from the post-COVID wide inflation outcome space fade as well. And we're currently getting there as well. If you listen to our nowcasts, we run this nowcast IQ platform. Inflation is running 15, maybe 17 basis points below inflation consensus right now. So we're getting there, even though I think it's safe to say that it's very early to discuss the impact of AI on prices yet. I mean, it's kind of bullshit to state that it's AI that is driving the price level down in momentum terms right now. I think it's related to other things.
Yeah. It's energy. It's a lot of other stuff, yeah. But it's getting there. I mean, you're seeing one thing is this Jack Dorsey stuff, but we are seeing layoffs. We will get back to that. We are seeing layoffs. We're seeing In Europe, we're seeing banks doing layoffs. We're seeing software companies. We're seeing logistics companies everywhere doing layoffs, and if it's not going into inflation, it's going into margins. I mean, it's as simple as that. So we are seeing this beginning. A lot of businesses are going to be very, very slow to get into this, but we're hearing about it even in some of the largest banks in Europe as well. Andreas, I know you have a big network there, that they're working at being ready to execute on this, because at some point one of their competitors are gonna do massive cuts, and I mean, so far the recipe seems to be.
But okay, Mikkel, I need to say something about the European banking sector, right? Because in my opinion, it has little to do with the AI yet. In my opinion, you could have laid off 80% of the workforce in European banks a while ago without anyone noticing.
Yeah.
I sincerely mean that, from having worked inside the biggest in Northern Europe. 8 out of 10 didn't really produce anything. Mm. And the 2 out of 10 that actually produced something, they weren't really paid for it relative to the others, which is typical in Northern Europe. So no sector has been worse at, finding all sorts of excuses to host internal workshops, ESG shit, woke here, woke there, than banking in Europe. It's been terrible. And I am thankful that I've left that shitty sector 5-6 years ago. I've never been happier. But finally, they're probably waking up now. But just last week, I saw this terrible panel hosted by Nordea Bank, my old bank, and around some weird ESG stuff. And you would have thought that they had moved on after everything that happened over the past 12 months, but they haven't. I mean,
no, but I mean, Andreas, perhaps especially in Europe, I think banks were still up until a few years ago still reeling from from 08, because especially in Europe, the narrative was that this is the bank's fault. So they were left with zero credibility. They had been bailed out. They had been, had to shoulder the blame for this. What do you do then? You pay lip service to whatever the government finds relevant. You're trying to piece the current big thing. You move into diversity. You move into climate change. You move into whatever's the big thing at the moment. And at the same time, they were able to. The big banks were able to have massive new legislation, regulation around banking, and they say, "Oh, we have to accept that," and they were pleased to have it in there because it limits the scope for disruptions and newcomers in those businesses. So I think it's been, and in that way, I get why you were laid off. No, but I get that strategy of trying to fit in and get back within the good graces of society. I think that they're probably there now. I think it's most people. There's been a generational shift, etc. But I kind of get that. But I do tend to agree with you. So the one sector that's going to be slower than banks, that's my old sector. That's government. In the US, there's been some movement. In Europe, it's going to be very, very slow because there's no disruption really. No one is fearful of going out of business because you can't, and it's the pressure will probably have to come top down from a lack of income tax revenues, and that is still a few years down the line. But that is probably where it's going to have to come from.
But Mikkel, everything you just said about the banking sector trying, to get back on a good footing with society and all of that, it kind of reminds me of that old Lenin quote, that capitalists will sell us the exact rope which we will hang them with, right? Because why would you accommodate all sorts of bullshit to become good friends with people who don't like you? They will never like you. I mean,
it's true.
If you're a socialist, you will never like a bank. You want to implement like central bank lending and all that kind of stuff that they've been talking about for ages, but haven't been able to implement, right? So that's what. And actually, this software guy, and he asked me this morning when I gave him this pitch on the agentic economy and how ETH, Solana, Sui, etc., could become the host of that agentic economy. And I'm not saying that it's a tangible scenario for this year. It's not really, but a few years down the road. He told me, why wouldn't that be hosted by the government on some sort of currency, right? And it's this exact same logic that the left wing has used for a long time around commercial banks' ability to create money out of thin air, right? You hear that quite often from the left wing in Europe. Still, why don't we just allow the central bank to create the credit to households and corporations, etc.? Why do we need a private bank to earn money on that? In that case, we kind of pass on the monopoly to a private sector entity. Why do we do that? And I think there is some merit to this. The issue is obviously that if you only have one player and that player sucks at credit assessments, you're in a really, really bad spot, right? So, it is obviously a good thing to have competition between companies trying to assess credit. And one of the things that I really look forward to is how large language models will shape future credit assessments, right? Because the stuff that I tell Gemini or ChatGPT, my butthole hurts, right? I would never say that to anyone in real life, right? But I have no issues. I just did, yeah. But oops. But you know what I mean, right? You chat with ChatGPT around stuff that you would find very uncomfortable in real life, maybe even as a conversation with a doctor, right? You would probably find it much more comfortable to chat with an LLM around, okay, I'm not able to pay my bills for the first this month. What do I do? For example, stuff like that. That would be amazing data to have as a credit assessment company, right? So this could shape the banking system in a way that we were not yet able to imagine. And I think there's a decent chance, if they throw away all this vote shit, that they can actually turn into technology companies on the back of this with much higher margins as a consequence. And
especially OpenAI, because I think it's ChatGPT that's being used for that way more than Gemini and Claude, I think.
You and I use Claude Code a lot and Claude Cowork a lot, and they're currently getting. They have some issues matching supply and demand right now. That's at least my impression. After the retail frenzy is coming to Claude now, and I'm not sure they're prepared. Dario, he's been saying to the media for the past couple of months, "Oh, why has Sam bought all this compute?" Now you're going to recognize why, Dario, over the next couple of months, if you keep posting all of these announcements that will lead to retail frenzy into your product, because that's why you need all the compute, mate.
Yeah. A question here: has anyone roasted Andreas' sweater? What on earth? So I think it's quite nice. It's but Andreas, the thing about credit scores, you've been saying it too. We've been discussing it for a while, and I'm really trying to wrap my head around it, because using your personal data, which this very much is, your very, very personal discussion with ChatGPT, to sort of lay that out in the open for a credit assessment company or for a bank or for a lender. First of all, it's extremely illegal. You could argue that the same thing happens with the algorithms. They're probably listening to this and trying to sell you medicine for that butthole that you'll probably get ads for that. So is that any different? It's possible. What I thought about is it's possible it could be done in a completely anonymous way. So that ChatGPT handles sort of they're prompted with Andreas Steno, what's his credit score, and it takes all these things into account without telling the bank or the lender about what goes into this credit score. It just sends back a credit score without telling why. That could be possible, actually. It would be highly, highly controversial, and I think it would be very, very, very detrimental to ChatGPT's business model here, but who knows?
Don't give this guy a mortgage. I mean, he's got a ring of fire. So
no. He's
back there. I mean, he's talking about his butthole all the time, right?
It's a maniac, yeah. No, I don't know, Andreas. This is both dystopian and a really, really good business idea. But in any case, what is happening in the credit risk assessment area is that obviously when you have a bunch of data on people, legal data, and you're trying to assess them, it's a very, very natural use case for AI on top of the existing data, let alone all the data that we put into our chat friends there. So, Andreas, let's do one or two more questions here. We have one from Theo here. Has a recession finally arrived for 2027? I'm not quite sure how to understand that question, but let's start with the first part. Are we in a recession? No, but
no,
just flat no.
No, you can never rule that out, but no. I consider that incredibly unlikely.
Nothing points in that direction.
I think, okay, it actually leads me to something that I wanted to say today. After having this chat with this guy with connections to this mid-cap private equity firm, but also having similar discussions with other private equity firms, private debt firms, this is certainly where you should look if you're worried. I mean, I plan on spending some more time looking into this whole private credit sector because on a sector level, they probably have 25 to 30% software on their books. And we're not talking about quality software here. We're talking about mid-cap software. So, I mean, obviously less integrated vertically. And these companies, they're essentially levered bets on software because they're using leverage. And until a few days ago, I kind of didn't get why markets sold off software, but only like partially sold off private credit / private equity companies, and didn't sell off banks in the US at all. Because if there's an issue, major issue in software as a service, that will lead to a lot of losses within private equity and private credit. And the backholders are the banks because they've provided the leverage to these funds. Do we know how bad it is right now? No, I think these vehicles, they're incredibly good at kicking the can down the road. We know that they've been busy restriking a lot of these loans this year, also last year. We have some high-level data on that, meaning that probably some covenants were breached, and then they struck a new deal with the software companies struggling to pay, and so on and so forth. So therefore, we don't see the losses yet, and these are pretty intransparent vehicles. I've had discussions with many CIOs from pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, allocating billions to these vehicles, and they struggle to get any transparency out of these companies. So I don't think that's a good sign. And having said that, the good old saying that you do not really find out who's swimming naked until the tide turns, right? That's basically also what you need to consider here. As long as the credit cycle is doing okay, and it kind of relates to the question I got on liquidity as well, and we're seeing a balance sheet expansion across the entire banking system, etc., then I don't think you need to be worried because you're not going to see who's swimming naked at such a point. But as soon as we're talking about a rate of change that is negative on credit, it's recession time. I think that's it's probably recession time, right? And I think private debt is where you need to look for clues around that. It doesn't look overly pretty right now, but it's not landslide. Let me just also stress that. But I'm getting increasingly worried what's hidden in there. That's my honest answer to that. So I think it's 2027 likely for a recession. I wouldn't rule out that it's feasible.
Interesting, Andreas. It's very, very interesting what happens beyond, because we're talking a lot about this needs to happen before the midterms. We're going to run the economy hot into the midterms. So we're very few talking about what what happens beyond that. Maybe AI fixes it all. Maybe we're stuck with a huge debt in the US, and who knows? It's going to be really interesting, and a lame duck government essentially. So
my favorite Dario has also joined the comment section. I can see Dario Perkins, our friend at TS Lombard. Thanks for watching, Dario. He's a macroeconomist. If you want a very contrarian take, go read Dario's stuff right now. His take is that AI is a nothing burger right now. That's a pretty, everyone is either screaming, "Oh, it's the shit," or else that, "Oh no, it's going to ruin the world." But Dario's there. You cannot see it in any macro, which is a pretty nice take. So thanks for that, Dario. And by the way, Dario is also very good at insults. I remember having a coffee with milk, I think at like 11 a.m., recording a podcast with Dario at one point, and he went mad at me. So that's the Italian spirit, right? Do not drink coffee with milk after 10 a.m. I can guarantee you that you'll piss off a lot of people in Italy, at least.
I never do. That's the easy way of getting around that. You do a lot, Andreas. I have to throw you under the bus here. When we're down getting coffee, it's flat whites, it's cortado, it's whatever. It's
cortado.
Yeah, I don't know if that's allowed. Probably neither. No.
No. It's not even allowed to ask for one in Italy. I think so.
No, probably doesn't exist. So absolutely, Andreas. Let's look at the questions we're getting here. I need to get them on the platform from a phone. I just need to 1 second here. We had a question on US crypto regulation. I'm just trying to find it here. Jimmy. Oh, it's up here. Sorry. Nice to be chatting with you today. Likewise, Jimmy. Maybe this is the right forum to explore this. But do you see the new US crypto regulations as the start of a kind of survival of the fittest phase, where a large share of altcoins might struggle to stay listed or relevant in the US? And how do you think this will play out over the next few years? More of a gradual shakeout or something that could hit liquidity fairly quickly?
Okay, let me say a few things, right? To me, it would be great if we could kill some of the more moronic altcoins. I've always been a crypto utility guy. So even though I've occasionally traded meme coins just for the fun of it, I actually think it would be a good idea if Dogecoin and Fotcoin and all that shit went to zero. And I sincerely say that. I mean that. Because it would allow the crypto utility case to gain more focus. And the crypto utility case has never been more bright. Never. We're talking about stablecoin issuance that is growing 100% a year-ish, something like that. At least if you look at it from a transactional volume perspective, right? Issuance is growing 50%-ish. But and we're talking almost, I think, 10 trillion-ish in annual total transaction volumes on stablecoins. So I went through this whole exercise and trying to make a bottoms-up valuation of ETH and Solana and some of these chains earlier this week. And I'd like to. Oh, what a good question that's coming in right now. We'll take that. We need to answer that as the last question today. But what I was about to say is that I'm at least partially a fundamental guy, so I'd like to see some sort of valuation case that makes sense if you put in some growth parameters that make sense, right? And for ETH in particular, but to some extent also Solana and Sui for that matter, you'll need to see an incredible growth in transaction fees for the current valuation to make sense, and that has been the case for years. For now, I mean, most of these coins trade on their terminal rate in a sense because it's not a tangible scenario to get that kind of transaction fee level new return, right? But is it possible that we 20x fees on Solana, for example? In my opinion, very possible if we get the agentic economy rolling. Is that a story for 2026? I mean, if you had asked me 1st of Jan, I would have said no. Now, with all of the announcements we've seen in the AI space, I'd say, who knows? I mean, at least I'm not categorically refusing it now. My point is just, if you get microtransactions running between agents, which is where we're heading, Again, this morning, I've got a lot of good anecdotes from that breakfast. Maybe I should eat breakfast with this guy more often. But he told me about this simple payment monitor that they had created for worksmen, basically. So when they park their car next to the apartment, the house that they're going to visit, and it's a paid parking zone, this agent that they built automatically adds the parking fee to the bill for the client. And this is something that most of these workers, they typically forget, right? Very, very, very simple agentic setup. And, something that you could run as a business without any operators, which is, by the way, probably the future for a lot of entrepreneurs. I mean, it's basically the way that we're trying to guide our business, Mikkel, as well. Launch small shops, 200K annual recurring revenue, many of them. You already see it in the business formation statistics that we're seeing a lot of single man shops opening up around the countries, right? So, wow, I'm getting completely out of a tangent, going completely out of a tangent here. What I was trying to say is that I actually think that it's good if we enter the survival of the fittest phase that he was referring to around altcoins, and that regulations could push us in that direction. Yes, I think it's correct, and I think it's good. Yeah, that was a very long answer to that question.
At least you could get some decoupling of that. Would be very interesting, Andreas. Do you want to get to the good question here? Because I think we can spend a few minutes on this.
Yes.
So Prudent Theo asks us here a question for you guys. We're both Danish. Andreas, just to introduce the question here: Norway or Sweden in all aspects, not only investing. I'll let you begin on that.
Okay, but investing right now, Norway. I mean, energy is a good bet right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweden, they actually have Lundin. It's one of your favorites.
I like that. I like that. Yeah,
not the murderer, but the company. It's one of the few mass murderers we have in Denmark. He's called Lundin as well. But
And their founder was called Adolf Lundin, and Adolf is kind of a name, and Lundin is
also
at least in Denmark is in the same level in Denmark, because it was Denmark's worst mass murderer was called Lundin. So to be called Adolf Lundin is like being called Adolf Manson or something in the US. I don't know. So anyway, doing great, Lundin. They're even going into space tech for their mining operations. So that's always a good way to get in there.
Okay, so they're going to mine the gold in space. Okay,
maybe I'm not sure.
I've heard a lot of pundits talking about that. I mean, come on.
I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm first of all Finland for me, but besides that,
seriously,
I love Finnish people. They're the best.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I love going to Norway, but it's got to be Sweden for me in all aspects. It's I have to say I love Sweden. I love the language is so beautiful. It's
Okay, before I throw insults at the Norwegians here, pardon my French now. I've always considered Norway like the Qatar of Scandinavia, right? Yeah. They have absolutely no work ethic. They leave office at 2 p.m. at the latest.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Because, they know, we have the oil, right? And then, probably a handful of years back, they started sounding like, okay, we're not going to drill for any more oil, and we don't want to invest in oil. And so now they don't sound like the Qataris anymore. And I actually respected the old Norwegian style more, where they were like, yeah, we have the fucking oil, we'll leave at 2 p.m. Who cares? So they've actually gotten closer to us in their rhetoric, which I don't find that fitting. Go back to your old Qatari style. I mean, you have so much money up there. What I've always lamented, and it's a suggestion, if any Norwegian politicians are watching, why haven't you bought a Premier League club yet with that fucking oil fund?
That's true.
Buy a sports team.
Yeah.
Buy a team in the NFL. Do something. Do something that the Saudis
Formula One Grand Prix in the fjords, whatever. Yeah.
Create a golf tour.
Yeah.
I mean, we really need a European country with that kind of leverage of the Americans.
Yeah.
Please, Norway, you're the only
Yeah.
country with a fund that is capable of doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Buy Scotty Scheffler. That's what I'm saying. Buy him, please.
Yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo going to play for Bodø Glimt, probably. I know. So the way I view this, Andreas, of course, one thing to remember that people often misunderstand about Scandinavia really was only two countries for most of history: Denmark and Sweden. Denmark was the big one. Then Sweden was a lot better and most dominated Denmark for the past few hundred years. But Norway and Finland were appendixes. Norway to Denmark, Finland to Sweden, then Norway switched over to Sweden. But Denmark and Sweden were the countries. Norway, if you go to Oslo, look at all the statues. Well, were they kings? Were they kings in Norway? Yeah, but they ruled from Copenhagen. So it's all Danish kings. So no, we've probably lost all the Norwegians now. The thing about Swedish, and I don't know if you agree with this, but the way I feel about Swedes is that they're the same as us. They're just 5% better in everything. They're a little bit more perfect. I mean, they're better hair, a little better looking. They have industry. They can make cars. They're better in sports. They beat us in most sports, and they're just a little bit better in everything. A little bit more self-righteous, a little bit more. Yeah, that's the way I view the Swedes. They don't have as much fun as us, perhaps, but a little bit better in everything, a little bit more perfect. Yeah, I love going to Stockholm. I love going to Göteborg to all over Sweden, essentially. So that's going to be my pick.
Mikkel, you're our soccer football expert here at Real Vision. When was the last time Norway played in the World Cup? They're going to play in the World Cup this summer.
Yeah, 98.
Was it in 98? So
yeah.
When did they beat Brazil? Was that 98 as well?
Yeah. They beat them in the group phase, I think.
I just recall that soundbite from the Norwegian commentator just shouting, "We're the best in the world!" after they were beating Brazil, and they didn't. I don't think they progressed from the group even, but
yeah, they did. They went to the second round. I think they lost to Italy. Denmark went a round further there. We're not going to be better than them this summer. We have to admit that. No. We're complete shit compared to Norway. Norway is probably a dark horse to win the thing. So that would be horrible, Andreas. That would be the worst. I don't know what I'd do in that case. They can win all the medals they want at the Winter Olympics. They can do whatever they want with the money. But for them to win that trophy, that would be horrible. It would be really, really horrible, Andreas. But let's hope let's hope we even get there. That's the thing. So, any final remarks, Andreas? This has been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of great listener questions. I hope we get to do these more often. We'll see about that.
So let me just briefly recap. I think yesterday was an aha moment in relation to this vibe coding of Bloomberg, and I think the Selloff is overdone in everything that is quality software here. I actually think Citrini's Doom paper on Monday might have marked the exact bottom. Our nowcasting is pretty upbeat. That, of course, doesn't exclude the possibility that these AI fears will drive everything. By the way, we got a tremendous reading from the Chicago PMI today, so I think we should expect some fireworks from the PMIs next week. So I mean, the cycle is improving. Inflation is actually, at least in consumer terms, moving lower. It's not really in producer terms, and that's not a bad backdrop. No. And can crypto leave this software as a service basket? No, I don't think it can leave it because it is software as a service, in my opinion. But it is a part of the software as a service sector that is well equipped to deal with AI and very well equipped to deal with the move from macro transactions to micro transactions. And I think that's basically what we're staring at. I don't know whether the agentic economy will thrive this year. Of course, we'll see bits and pieces from it. But it's probably something that is feasible within a few years, and I don't know anyone outside of this RV community really on top of that. I mean, if I say something like this to my old colleagues in banks, they don't even know what I'm talking about, right? So I mean, there's still potential here. Having said that, and I happily admit to that, also given the question we got on silver, we probably have between friends here, 20% plus in metals bets, something like that, and around 8% of our portfolio in crypto. So I guess that's a little telling. But that, I like transparency. That's how I'm positioned right now.
Absolutely. So great to join you, Andreas. I'm gonna do the wrap up really quickly because I'm getting called by the boss here. So
okay, yeah.
Thanks to everyone for joining. It's wonderful timing. My daughter is asleep. So anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks to you, Andreas. Thanks to everyone at Real Vision and all your listeners for joining in. Check in with us every Monday for Macro Mondays, and check out the options at Real Vision if you want even more of our research. Have fun out there. Have a great weekend.